Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, WTISD, here in Geneva and online as well. I'm Max Jacobson Gonzalez, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies for today, and my job is to make sure that this event runs as smoothly as possible, and believe me, I will try my very best to do so. This session is available remotely, and it's being webcasted, live streamed, and recorded. So there's no excuses if you don't catch it straight away to catch up with it later on. The language of the event will be in English, and the on-site audience should be careful with the speak button, because if pressed, the camera will automatically focus on you and will activate your microphone. So unless you're asked to speak, please avoid pressing it. So to begin with, please let me welcome all the ITU elected officials here on stage with me. Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of ITU, Mr. Thomas Lamanauskas, Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Mario Manovic, Director of the Radio Communication Bureau, Mr. Seizo Onoe, Director of the Telecommunication Standardization Bureau, and Dr. Cosmas Zavazava, Director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau. Now, please allow me to give the floor to the ITU Secretary General, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, who will open this event.
Welcome to the ITU and happy World Telecommunications and Information Society Day. I'm delighted to be joined today by the Deputy Secretary General, Thomas Lamanauskas, the Radio Communications Director, Mario Manovic, the Standardization Director, Seizo Onoe, and the Development Director, Dr. Cosmas Zavazava. Let me say how honored we are to have so many ministries, regulators, ambassadors, industry members, friends, and staff of ITU with us here physically, but also joining us remotely from all around the globe to celebrate ITU's birthday. Of course, it's not every day that you get to turn 158 years old. Today is also an opportunity for us to remember how it all started. With just 20 countries and the historic signing of the International Telegraph Convention back in 1865. And of course, since then, the ITU has helped to shape the development of technologies like the radio, like the television, like satellites, the internet, mobile communications, all technologies that have become part of the fabric of our lives. With emerging technologies like generative AI, the pace of tech innovation is accelerating yet again. And we, as the UN Agency for Digital Technologies, and I think also we as society, we need to ensure that those technologies are safe and that they are developed responsibly. We also need to bring the benefits of these technologies to everyone, everywhere, and looking to the digital future with confidence in who we are, and of course, what we can do together to bend the arc of tech history towards inclusion. And that's why I'm pleased that we are all here today on this special day for ITU to discuss how we can ensure that least developed countries are not left behind. We need to make sure that least developed countries are not left behind in this digital era. So here's one indisputable fact. Digital is, emphasis is, digital is a critical catalyst to move LDCs from potential to prosperity. That was the theme, and it was also one of the key messages at the UN LDC 5 conference that recently concluded. It's also the strong signal that was sent by those of you that have pledged to help LDCs through ITU's Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. More than one third of the entire value of what we have mobilized so far, some $30 billion in connectivity pledges, more than a third is targeted towards least developed countries. And today, what's great about today is we're going to hear from some of those that have made pledges, what they're doing on the ground to implement them. It will give us a chance to understand what we can do to address some of the most unjust digital inequalities facing LDCs, from a lack of affordability to that gender digital gap that just shows no signs of narrowing. Later today, I'll make some announcements about Partner2Connect and ITU's upcoming SDG Digital Day, because this is really a pivotal moment for the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm convinced that our success rests on our collective commitment to the hardest to connect communities in LDCs and elsewhere. In the little time that we have left to actually rescue those SDGs, I think we can no longer define LDCs by what they're not, but by what they can be. What we do now, this opportunity to create lasting digital justice, prosperity, and sustainability for all, it will matter. It will matter for generations to come in LDCs and beyond. So thank you so much for being here, being part of these celebrations, and I look forward to the discussions. And with that, Max, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of ITU. Now, allow me to ask the other elected officials on the stage here with us to share with us a brief memory on the occasion of ITU's birthday. So we'll start off with Thomas Lamanauskas, Deputy Secretary General of ITU. Thomas, the floor is yours. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Max, and happy birthday to all of us. So indeed, there is a saying that people don't necessarily remember what to do or what to say, but people remember the emotion you leave them with. So I thought for this opportunity, I'll share the emotion that I associate with ITU, and this is pride. And there are a couple of moments in the last few years that actually reinforce that it's not only my emotion, but it's the emotion of our family as ITU. So first of all, starting with the staff, and I remember a couple of years ago, looking first time at a presentation of McKinsey Culture and Value Survey, and whatever it said about what needs to be improved in ITU, it said one thing: the staff is proud of ITU and proud to be in that organization. The ITU as a family also made me super proud last year in September 29th, and it's not only because I was elected that day, but also because that was the day when also the glass ceiling was shattered by electing the first woman Secretary General, Doreen. And indeed, the whole ITU family came together with a strong voice in that, to deliver on that. I also personally was very proud to be able, and a little bit of bragging here, to carry the ITU flag on December last year to Hurupi, Kilimanjaro. And that wasn't just to show off, that's really having that there made me personally proud. And I think there is a reason for that, because ITU is the organization that probably now more than ever is very relevant in bringing the digital world to everyone through connectivity. And we've been doing that now for 158 years. And I think that's very important that we translate that pride, that clearly it's not only my emotion, but all of other people's emotion, to really continue doing that work and delivering that to everyone, not least, of course, to least developed countries. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much indeed, Thomas. At least the air here is not as thin as it is on top of Kilimanjaro. Mr. Mario Manovic is Director of the Radio Communication Bureau, and I hand the floor over to you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Max, and good afternoon, everyone, and happy birthday to all of us again. So I think I will go to elected officials. Of course, they have emotions when they are elected or re-elected, but I will go somewhere else. I will go to another achievement, great achievement of the ITU that we should all be proud of, and it is the radio regulations. This international treaty that is binding all member states and that has been there for more than 1 century and always respected and always kept in the national legislation of all countries. So the fond memory is in WRCs, in World Radio Communication Conferences, the last days of the conferences, when you see that all the difficulties and all the disagreements that have been blocking progress for the last weeks, they start to disappear. The delegates are suddenly ready to compromise, and everything gets sorted out. And people live happy, and they go and update their LinkedIn accounts to reflect the achievements of the conference. So I think that's a very fond memory. Every end of WRC is pretty special. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariam. We look forward to WRC this year as well. So next is Seizo Onoe, Seizo Onoe-san, who is the Director of the Telecommunication Standardization Bureau, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. And also, happy birthday to all and me, because last Friday was my birthday. And actually, my first experience of ITU was ITU meeting 30 years ago, but it was bitter memory, so it's not today's topic. What I want to, I'm happy to share with you is participation in the WTIS, World Telecommunications ICT Indicator Symposium 2015, held in Hiroshima, Japan. 8 years ago, and some colleagues here, probably many people today I worked closely with today attended the same event. At least Cosmos was there, but I didn't meet him at that time. So I didn't know him at that time, but I found some photos that shows that we are definitely on the same event. That's found. So, and also the symposium itself very new to me, very new experience for me, because I participate in this panel discussing how to bring the broadband to the developing countries. As at that time, I focused on the new technology only. So looking back, I think it has been my first step in working at ITU. And also now I'm working for the, I'm very happy to be a part of the global effort to shape the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Seizo Onoe-san, and Tanjobi Omedetou gozaimasu to you. Thank you. So, for last but not least, Dr. Cosma Zavazava, Director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau.
Thank you, Max. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. It is a pleasure to be here, and happy birthday to us all. I have many fond memories, but I will limit myself to 2. I joined ITU in 2001, and I had more hair than I have now. My first project was, I think, about 3 weeks after joining, and it was on countries in special need, countries emerging out of war situations and major natural disasters. And I was very lucky, just after about a month and 2 weeks, there was a TDAC in this room, and I met officials from FCC, we thank the government of the US, and also from the USID. And we managed to negotiate and got a budget of about 1,583, which we dedicated to those countries that were emerging out of war situations for the reconstruction of destroyed cities, but also for them to be supported in establishing regulatory authorities and Of course, I accompanied the ministers to FCC, NTIA, etc. So for me to realize that our work or the work of the organization would impact people, particularly those in need, it was quite satisfying. The second has to do also with what happened in July in 2001. I was having a breakfast meeting in Washington, DC. There was a conference which was called AFRICOM, where I had two delegates from, or two officials from Inmarsat. And I started probing because I thought, why don't we use satellite communications to save lives? And it did the trick. So we managed to establish for ITU for the first time to be able to deploy emergency telecommunications. We negotiated 105,000 euro with Inmarsat, and we said, we don't want the money, you give us the equipment. And they gave us 15 gun terminals, which when delivered just after 4 months, on the 26th of December 2004, the tsunami struck. And that was the birth of ITU's deployment to countries. So for me, the two occasions indicate that what we do matters, we impact people, and we are rolling out technology with a human face. And I have very fond memories of that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed to all of you for all these memories. I think you'll agree this is a great way to start our celebration today. Now let's listen to the welcome remarks made by Mr. Antonio Guterres, who is United Nations Secretary General, of course, and who will be addressing us through the wonders of modern technology, a video message that he prepared earlier. Thank you.
On this World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, we highlight the power of technology to advance sustainable development in least developed countries. The digital revolution is a defining force of our era. The opportunities are tremendous, from transforming education and healthcare to accelerating climate action and the achievement of all the Sustainable Development Goals. But to realize the promise of technology, we must confront its perils. The lack of ethical guardrails and robust governance frameworks, the proliferation of hate speech and disinformation, the amplification of social divides and economic inequalities, and the risk posed by artificial intelligence, from deep fakes to biased decisions by neural networks that no human can fully explain. Technology must be an instrument to reduce divides, not deepen them. As the internet becomes ever more central to value creation and innovation, least developed countries risk falling further behind. We must dramatically improve accessibility and inclusivity and eliminate the digital divide. We must support the creation of digital public goods, open source software, open data, and open content. We must invest in the capacities of public institutions so that they have the skills and resources to understand, oversee, shape, and engage with artificial intelligence and other transformative technologies. And we must come together around the Global Digital Compact to avoid fragmentation, safeguard human rights, and ensure technology is a force for human well-being, solidarity, and progress. I commend the International Telecommunication Union for working to accelerate global connectivity for all by 2030. Let us all do our part in closing the digital divide and securing a more equitable and sustainable future everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General. I now have the pleasure to introduce Ms. Heidi Schröderus-Fox, who is the Director of UNOHRLLS, who will also provide remarks and introduce the video address of Ms. Rabab Fatima, Under Secretary General and High Representative for the Least Developed Countries, Landlocked Developing Countries and Small Island Developing States for UNOHRLLS. So Ms. Schröderus-Fox, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, Secretary General of ITU, Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Excellencies, a very good morning from New York, good afternoon to you. Really happy to join to wish ITU a very, very happy birthday. I am very grateful to ITU and the Secretary General Doreen and her excellent team for really maintaining the focus on the countries that are left the furthest behind. And this was so evident during the LDC 5 conference in Doha, your strong engagement and focus on the LDCs. We all know well the nature of digital divide. 6 out of 10 people living in least developed countries do not use the internet. And this is, of course, very difficult to imagine for us, especially when we live in living lives where our daily routines are very much based on internet. It is therefore very important to keep focusing on LDCs until we can really reach universal connectivity. I will make 2 very short points. First is that enhancing digital literacy and skills, especially among the youth, is extremely important. Given growing youth population in LDCs, we need to secure their future, and we should work together to equip the youth with the necessary knowledge and abilities to use ICT effectively. And my second point is that building entrepreneurships in LDCs is very significant. ICT can have a game-changing impact once micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises have intermittent access to fast-speed internet and digital services. In LDCs, technology-driven entrepreneurship can help promote productive capacity and competitiveness. It can enable more entrepreneurs in LDCs to expand their businesses beyond local markets. And ultimately, it can empower entrepreneurs by providing them with tools, resources, and access to markets that were previously unavailable or prohibitively expensive. So, colleague, the case for continuing to focus on the least developed countries is very compelling. And with these very brief remarks, I have a great pleasure to hand over to our Undersecretary General and High Representative for the least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states, Ms. Rabab Fatima. She has sent a video message to you as she is currently on mission to Asia. Thank you very much.
Secretary General Doreen Bogdan Martin, Excellencies, distinguished partners, and dear colleagues, I'm delighted to join you to mark this year's World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. The focus of the day on empowering the least developed countries through information and communication technologies is indeed very timely. We meet today in the backdrop of a successful LDC 5 conference. I recall the exciting and extremely useful conversations that I had with many of you during the conference, especially on the transformative role that ICT can play in the lives and livelihoods of more than 1.2 billion people in the LDCs. I'm particularly encouraged by the deep interest and commitment demonstrated by some of the leading technology companies to enhance their investments in the LDCs to bridge the stark digital divide in these countries. We wish to build on this momentum to ensure full and effective implementation of the Doha Program of Action, especially its second pillar, which concerns leveraging the power of science, technology, and innovation to empower the people in the LDCs who are the furthest behind. To that end, I'm very happy that the Partner2Connect campaign, which was launched in March last year, committed to a renewed focus on mobilizing global support and pledges towards the LDCs and other vulnerable countries. Excellencies, dear colleagues, over the past year, almost 200 pledges with a value of $12 billion were submitted to Partner2Connect, with special focus on the hardest to connect communities in the LDCs, LLDCs, and the SIDS. Next year, we have 2 important meetings coming up, the 3rd UN Conference for the LLDCs and the 4th International Conference on the SIDS, the other 2 groups of vulnerable countries. As we prepare for those 2 important conferences, we must make every effort to ensure that STI is also at the core of the new programs of actions for the LDCs and the SIDS. I look forward to working with ITU, member states, the private sector, and all other stakeholders to form the broadest possible digital coalition to lead this agenda. I thank you all.
Thank you very much indeed, Ms. Fatima. I now have the great pleasure to introduce to you His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Abdul Muhith, who is the Permanent Representative of Bangladesh to the United Nations in New York, and His Excellency will deliver remarks on behalf of the LDC Bureau members. Your Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good morning from New York to you and all. And happy World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. Excellencies, Secretary General of ITU, Ms. Doreen Bogdan Martin, and distinguished participants. I'm pleased to take part in the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day and deliver this statement on behalf of the LDC group, especially as this year's event focuses on the empowerment of the LDCs through information and communication. As rightly captured in the theme, ICTs are vital for the development of LDCs, which was also amply highlighted during the LDC 5 conference in Doha in March 2023. Science, technology, and innovation feature prominently as one of the key focus areas in the Doha Program of Action, and they can turbocharge the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In the LDCs, ICTs can transform societies and accelerate development paths by driving financial inclusion, contributing to emergency responses, and advancing e-services, among others. But LDCs lag behind in ICT-related infrastructure and capacities. Approximately 800 million people in LDCs do not have access to internet. The digital divide prevents LDCs from exploiting the potential of emerging technologies for accelerated sustainable development. Therefore, LDCs urge for rapid development of ICT infrastructure and broadband connection to enable digital transformation through scaled-up investment, technology transfer, and practical digital capacity initiatives. The ICTs and digital technologies should be accessible and affordable to the LDCs. Multi-stakeholder partnerships and innovative financing models can be helpful in this regard. The revolution in ICTs has also brought some associated risks. We believe that an open, free, and secure digital technology can address such risks as internet fragmentation, data insecurity, disinformation, and misinformation. We also believe that the Global Digital Compact proposed by the Secretary General, will ensure digital equality by addressing the needs and priorities of the LDCs. Finally, today's program provides ample opportunity to exchange with and learn from the experiences from fellow LDCs, along with hearing from key stakeholders on their commitments and updates regarding the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. I once again thank the ITU for the opportunity for the LDC group to participate in this event and wish all of us good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency, and thank you to all our esteemed speakers for their welcome messages. And now for something a little bit different, let me please allow me to turn to Ms. Karimot Odebode, who is an award-winning poet, writer and youth activist, and founder of the Black Girls Dream Initiative and member of ITU's Generation Connect Africa group, who, on the occasion of ITU's birthday, will recite a poem for us. Karimot, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karimot Odebode, and I'm calling in from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm one of the SDGs young leaders recognized by the United Nations and also the Generation Connect African Youth Envoy. I'm so excited to wish the International Telecommunication Union happy birthday. I'm going to be reciting a poem, and I really hope that this poem is going to remind us about the importance of connecting the unconnected with just a click. With just a click, we have built dreams. We have built hopes. We have made mountains out of stones. We have connected the unconnected. We have built a future where everyone can dream it and be it. With just a click of the button, we have connected dreams across borders, transformed education, created jobs, transmitted knowledge, and built the world we want. With technology, we have lifted burdens and implemented dreams. We have given girls hopes, told young people that they can fly, that barriers do no longer exist, that borders are archaic, that they can reach far and beyond. With technology, we have taken 1,000 steps in seconds. So let's do more. Let's build ideas that will create safe space for everyone. Let's fund ideas that will connect the unconnected. A safe space where no one is left behind, where girls and women are truly acknowledged, where young people are included. It starts from you and me on these days. A glorious day of the birth of a catalyst of hope, the International Telecommunication Union. This is a call to action for us to dare to dream more, for us to believe in our ability to create light out of the night. Let us know that with technology, the future we hope for will come. That with technology, education will transcend borders. That girls in Africa, Asia, and across the world will learn. That young people will thrive. Pẹ̀lú ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ, àwọn ọmọ wa á kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ìrọ̀rùn. That with technology, we will build an education system that will bring us all together. That with technology, we are just a click away from breaking borders and smashing barriers. With just a click, dream it and be it. Connect the unconnected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Karimot Odebode. A wonderful poem, great delivery, and some great messages there indeed. So, moving swiftly on, because I know that time is very much of the essence, I would now kindly ask our elected officials to take their seats in the audience, all apart from Dr. Cosmas Zavazava. We're not off the hook yet. You can stay with us up here for a little bit. Thank you. So, moving on with the agenda, I would now like to ask Dr. Cosmas Zavazava to present some of BDT's initiatives impacting LDCs. Dr. Zavazava, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think if I were a poet, I would begin with just a click. I would get all the LDCs connected, but I'm not. So I would like to say that our work focuses on making sure that the world is connected. No one, no place is left behind. We have fundamentally 5 priorities to implement or to focus on for the next 5 years. The first is meaningful connectivity. We realize that there are many people who are connected, but they are not getting meaning out of the connectivity. The second one has to do with enabling environment, creating an enabling environment for the private sector and the industry to invest and connect to the world. And the third one is digital transformation. The fourth one is international cooperation. For you alone can do it, but you can't do it alone, and resource mobilization. And finally, cybersecurity, keeping everyone safe. We are going to share with you just some of our, it's just a sample of the work that we do to impact the world, particularly those in the least developed countries. So can we have the video, please?
Connectivity is crucial in today's world, but least developed countries, LDCs, face major challenges in achieving it. Only 36% of the population in LDCs use the internet in 2022, compared with 66% globally. Lack of access, digital skills, and affordability limit the journey of LDCs towards social and economic development. Aligned with the United Nations Doha Programme of Action, ITU responds to the specific challenges and needs of LDCs to enable them to benefit from the emerging global wave of digital technology. Through our work, we help LDCs through capacity building, direct project assistance, and human-centric digital public services. We equip LDCs with data insights to inform policies and provide technical assistance, and support innovation, inclusion, and entrepreneurship with tools and methodologies. We prioritize the use of technologies to save lives during emergencies, protect our planet, foster cyber resilience, and map broadband for universal connectivity. We are committed to making strong and impactful partnerships to do all of this, including through the Connect to Recover initiative for resilient digital infrastructure, the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Alliance for Digital Development, the ITU UNICEF GIGA School Connectivity Initiative to connect every school to the internet, the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition to accelerate universal and meaningful connectivity in the world's hardest to connect communities. Join us in building a more connective, inclusive, and a better world through digital. Together, we can help LDCs advance towards sustainable and irreversible graduation from the LDC category.
So thank you very much. I know that you are all familiar with the LDC as a category of developing countries. Could you kindly take out your mobile smartphones? It's time for us just to do a bit of a quiz and see. You have the QR here. I hope Heidi doesn't vote because she deals with this subject every day. So let's have the first question. Which country was the first LDC to graduate? Wow, so well done. The majority are saying it's Botswana, and that is very correct. Congratulations. Botswana graduated in 1994 from an LDC category. I have one last question for you, and I know you are going to get it right. So how many LDCs are on their journey to graduation? So I think all the answers are in. Okay, congratulations. You all got it right in a way. It's 16 countries are on the way to graduation. And now, just to summarize, our Secretary General Doreen Bogdan said, quoting the voices coming out of the Doha, the LDC 5, and also the UN Secretary General, that it is only digital that is going to rescue the Sustainable Development Goals. And the common denominator that is common to all these countries that are about to graduate and those that graduated before is that they are all doing well in terms of information and communication technology. So that's why we are committed to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. I know some LDCs are small island developing states and also the least developed countries. Certainly they can graduate from the LDC category, but they can't graduate from the small island developing states. And that is why it is important next year to pull our resources together and our efforts to make sure that we help those small island developing states that remain vulnerable to natural disasters and external economic shocks. And with this, I think I round up. Thank you very much for listening and participating in this quiz. Over to you, Max.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Cosmas-Zavazava, for presenting those BDT initiatives, that illuminating video, and that Mentimeter as well. We may not have got all the answers right, particularly in terms of the graduation, but I'm sure we all would like to be invited to the prom when that happens. I would now like to ask my colleague, Ms. Selina Abdullah, Special Advisor to the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, as well as the speakers of the mini panels, to join us all here on stage. Selina will be moderating this segment of the program, which will be focused on mobilizing and tracking progress on commitments to accelerate LDC's path to prosperity with the help of the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. So, Selina, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours. Thank you. But we're just waiting for our colleagues to come up here.
Thank you, Max. You were reading that a little bit too quickly. I needed some time to come up here gracefully.
Sorry about that.
Here we are. And may I invite all the speakers on stage, please? Thank you. And unlike Max, I'm not going to rush you. We'll just do that when you're speaking. So thank you and welcome everyone. It is my great pleasure to moderate this part of the program. And this following segment will be divided into 3 mini panels with different speakers, and you see them here on stage, and there are a few online. During the next 45 minutes, you will be hearing from governments, private sector, civil society representatives on key connectivity challenges faced by LDCs, and some of the strategies used by fellow countries on how to approach them. The mini panels will also present to the audience a selection of the current and new P2C pledges that address those challenges. As we are on a tight timeline, I would like to request all speakers to be mindful of the time allocated to each of you. And to help you keep time, I will tinkle the glass once, after 30 seconds before you end, and twice when time is up. And after that, I'll figure it out. Now, all speakers have 3 minutes each, unless I advise you otherwise. And thank you. So to kick this off, let me introduce you all to Mr. Graham Burns, partner from the Boston Consulting Group, and the P2C knowledge partner, as well as SDG Digital Day knowledge partner, who will set the scene and drive attention to the issues of access, affordability, and digital skills development in LDCs. Graham, you have 4 minutes, and I'm being very generous. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Selina. Your Excellencies, thank you for having me. By way of brief introduction, my name is Graham. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of our long-standing relationship with the ITU to help celebrate your birthday and to also continue the mission of achieving universal, meaningful connectivity for all and digital transformation globally. Today, I would like to briefly outline some of the phenomenal progress that's been made towards the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition and to highlight some of the specific challenges that continue to face challenge for the LDCs. If we move on to the next page, you'll see that since launch in 2021, the Partner2Connect Coalition has made phenomenal progress and gathered 622 pledges for a total value of $30 billion US. Significantly, 34% of those total pledges are in support of at least one least developing country. And that's meaningful when we then start to translate that into the size of the monetary support for those LDCs, 12 billion overall. And more importantly, last year in December, when we had our P2C annual event, we already started to see significant traction, 27% of those pledges already starting to have impact and impact on the ground. Whilst this is great, if we go to the next slide, you'll see that LDCs still need support in three key areas of digital transformation: access, adoption, digital skills within that, and clearly the value creation ecosystem that underpins innovation and prosperity in different organizations and countries. Just very quickly, I'll take you through some of the key stats and data points that help contextualize some of the challenges that we still face in providing connectivity for LDCs before I pass back to the floor. So here we see that, connectivity clearly still remains a challenge. Only 83% of LDC populations are covered by a mobile broadband signal. 8% have no signal at all, and 9% have a cell signal that does not connect to the internet. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that of that 83%, with a particular view on youth, only 47% of young people are able to use the internet. This signals that it's not just a connectivity issue, but there's an adoption challenge around affordability and also skills as well to be able to participate in the online economy. Significantly for LDCs, the affordability of a basic mobile broadband package still remains materially more expensive than what we see in other parts of the world, and 185% above our own UN targets. Next, what we see around adoption is it's clearly a broader systemic issue than just having connectivity and a device that allows you to participate. The digital skills and inclusion issues are more pronounced within LDCs. Literacy, gender divide, and greater disparities between urban and rural areas underscore some of the challenges that we all need to help overcome and support our LDC organizations to transform. And finally, when we look at the broader macroeconomy and the digital economies that underpin these countries, what we see is that between developed, developing, and LDCs, the lack of meaningful access, the affordable connectivity challenges, digital skills, inclusion, and gender diversity challenges still paint quite a challenging picture for LDCs that gives us cause to drive further action. Lastly, I just wanted to highlight that whilst this is a fairly sobering picture of the opportunity, we're not without hope or inspiration. The LDCs clearly represent a set of youthful and vibrant countries with huge economic potential and ambition to achieve the SDGs. Today, we're joined by amazing panelists who are going to share their pledges and their impact in the world about how they can help us advance those LDCs. Thank you, Selena.
Thank you, Graham. I didn't have to do this. Thank you very much for setting the scene for us. And now let me introduce the speakers of the first mini panel focusing on access. First, Her Excellency Ms. Paula Ingabire, Minister of Information and Communications Technology and Innovation of the Government of Rwanda. The Minister is joining us virtually. I hope she is here. Her Excellency Ms. Aurora Diaz Rato Ruelta, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Spain to the UN and other international organizations here in Geneva. Mr. Christopher Fabian, co-founder and co-lead of the GIGA initiative. Mr. Xinhui Wang, Vice President, General Manager of Standards and Industry Relations for ZTE Corporation. So, Minister, I'd like to call upon you. Let's start with you online. The floor is yours for the next 3 minutes. How nice to see you, Minister Paula. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes, we can.
Great. So first, I would like to thank ITU for inviting me to be part of this as we celebrate more than 100 years of their birth. So happy birthday, Doreen, Thomas, Mario, Cizo, and Cosmos, as well as the rest of the entire ITU family. Access to internet remains a critical factor for the delivery, especially for a government such as ours. And as part of our strategic vision and a growth roadmap, we really aspire to be a knowledge economy with universal access to digital skills and all the opportunities that the digital economy has to offer. Access to the internet is a critical enabler for this vision because achieving access for our population means that our population can benefit from key resources to grow the skills they need for their personal and professional development, as well as the way we are providing critical public and private services that are delivered much faster and more efficiently online. To realize the value that access brings, we've made significant investments in expanding broadband and internet services to our population. In 2018, we achieved the rollout of 97% geographic coverage of 4G internet services in our country. Today, mobile broadband is our most competitive market with an 81% mobile penetration rate. But despite achieving near universal coverage of internet services in our country, we continue to see gaps in terms of usage due to the challenge of unlocking key enablers such as devices, access to devices, affordable services, digital skills, and relevant content. And to bridge this gap, we are partnering with players in the industry to develop collaborative approaches, which over time will achieve significant increases in internet and smart device penetration. ITU is one of our long-standing partners in the mission of expanding access to communities. Rwanda is leading the implementation of GIGA in Africa, an initiative spearheaded by both ITU and UNICEF to connect all schools in Africa. And we did launch a pilot last year where 63 schools at the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition, which was 2022 as part of the ITU WTISD, which was held in Kigali. ITU supported the mobilization of unprecedented number of commitments and pledges of funding that would support meaningful internet connectivity. And to support that, we have to ensure that at least we provide smart devices to 1 million households, and that should cover more than 50% of our households covered by 2024. We continue to welcome the support of our partners, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Paula, with 10 seconds to spare. Excellent. And we appreciated your very insightful intervention. Let's continue with Rwanda. So I'm going to ask Chris Fabian to tell us more about GIGA, the joint initiative of UNICEF and ITU with the goal to connect every school to the internet by 2030. So Chris, Rwanda is one of the GIGA countries. Could you tell us briefly what the key accomplishments of GIGA has been in general and also in Rwanda? The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Sona. And again, happy birthday. 158 is that's really a good age to reach. So congratulations, ITU. Over the past few years, GIGA has connected something like 5,600 schools, which is about 2 million students, 2.2 million students, including, as Minister Paula mentioned, many in Rwanda. What we've seen in Rwanda is that the work that we did with her team, and others in the Ministry of Education helped to reduce the prices of school connectivity in Rwanda by about 50%, from $20 per megabyte to about $9 per megabyte, and also increased the speed of connectivity by about 400%. And the model schools that were connected in the initial procurement are now being scaled up to around 1,600 more schools in Rwanda. So the impact is there. We were a few of us were in Harare, in Victoria Falls 2 weeks ago with Cosmos and Doreen and others. And we heard over and over again about the market imbalances that all of you know exist in the space of connectivity. Poor people always pay more were the things that rich people don't pay very much or pay nothing at all for. And in fact, in many schools around the world, the cost of connecting a poor school is about 3 times as much as it is connecting a wealthy school. And so we heard over and over the need to figure out how to create price transparency across all the countries that Giga is working in. We're in 20 countries now, going to about 40 by the end of this year. What that means is that by the end of the coming year, you'll see those red dots in Brazil behind me turning green, each dot on the Giga map, and you can go to giga.global and see this map live. Each of those dots is a school. The red dots are disconnected schools. The green dots are schools that are connected. We're supporting the government of Brazil and their connectivity work to connect 19,000 schools as well in the next 18 months. So these are serious numbers, and I think that they'll lead to serious results. But so now I just wanted to end with I guess, another birthday present. Everybody deserves a nice birthday present. And our pledge to Partner2Connect originally was kind of low. We'd said we were going to connect 2.8 million schools. Nobody knows how many schools there are in the world. One of the fundamental pieces of Giga is trying to count them all for the first time, and we're doing that. But we would like to upgrade our pledge just to make it a bit of a better birthday present. And so we're going to say that by 2030, we're actually connecting all schools in the world. I think you can hold us accountable through that map. You'll see the colors change. But we'll need the help of everybody in the room to do that, because for sure this is something that we can't do alone. And everything from price transparency to the financing behind really low liquidity markets infrastructure is key to making this present into our future for everyone. Thank you, Sona.
Thank you, Chris. Actually, you had 30 seconds left, but I know you have a video.
Do I? I could have bought more time. I thought that was just me, but if there's something to show, we can show it.
Please, let's play the video. It's a very interesting story. Thank you.
ndetse by'umwihariko naje gukunda uyu mwuga w'ubwarimu bitewe n'uko umwana nigishaga ageze P6 yaje gutsinda examen national. Byaranshimishije cyane, numva burya mfite ubwo bushobozi bwo kuba nakigisha. Nigera hano ku Murama nta internet yari ihari, muri make nta connection yari ihari, ndetse mu myigishirize yacu byaratugoraga cyane. Mu by'ukuri aho tuboneye internet bitandukanye cyane uko byari bimeze mbere. Mbere byaratugoraga cyane, ubu nk'ubu lesson plans nshobora kuzikorera muri computer, exercise nkazitegurira kuri computer, muri make ibintu hafi ya byose nkabitegura kuri computer, mu gihe mbere nakoreshaga intoki bikantwara igihe kinini. Rero byaba ku ruhande rw'abanyeshuri, iyo ndi kwigisha abana nkoresha projector, nkoresha computer. Muri make any information nkeneye yose nyikura kuri computer but from kuri ya internet UNICEF yaduhaye n'ubundi. Iyi pandemic nta muntu wari ubyiteze, ariko by'ukuri nahise ntekereza kure. Ndavuga nti se ko bigenze gutya, amaherezo baraba yahe, ko tutazi igihe bazafungurira, ese turabigenza gutya. Muri gihe cyaza mu gitekerezo cyo gukorera group ya WhatsApp, najya mpura n'ababyeyi, ko nayo mfite n'ubundi nimero z'ababyeyi hafi ya bose babana nigisha mu wa gatandatu, mwaka wa gatandatu nabwo kariho nigisha. Nahise ntekereza uyu nakereye urwo rubuga rwa WhatsApp, hanyuma nkajya mbasha kuba navuganiraho n'ababyeyi, ndetse nkabaha bimwe mu byafasha abana kwiga. Nubwo buryo nakoresheje muri iki gihe cya COVID, ndetse byafashije ababyeyi kuko twagarutse gutangira abana abenshi, tunagarutse rwose abana bakoze kuvuga bo nigisha mu wa gatandatu babonye resulta nziza, ndetse ngereranyije n'izo babonaga mbere yuko COVID iza. Abana babashije gutsinda neza. Ndabivuga mu buryo bubiri, nubwo nababwiye ko ndi umwarimu ariko ndi n'umunyeshuri, ngira ngo biramfasha cyane. Iyo hari amasomo mu gihe cy'umugoroba lecturer wacu ashaka kutwigisha, bakadukominika kuri WhatsApp group tuba duhuriraho, aduha links then nkaza nkegera internet mu gihe mu by'ukuri byari bujye bingora mbere guhora ngura amayinite ya buri munsi ntabwo nari bujye mbona ubushobozi ahari bwo kuba nakiga online mu gihe kizaza nanjye nazikishimira kuzajya abantu bazajya bambona bazajya babona website yanjye most muri iyi kariya y'ubwarimu dukoreramo kuba bajya babona bajya bajya kuri website yanjye bakayisura bakajya babona aho ibibafasha mu kwigisha yewe ndetse byafasha n'abana mu kwiga numva iyo niyo dream yanjye with this internet nziko byose bizashoboka nzajya mbona amakuru ahagije from this internet hanyuma mbashe kuba nayakoresha mu gihe mu kwiteza imbere ariko ubu bisevinga igihe cyanjye muri make ntabwo bimvuna navuga ngo ubuzima bwaroroshye with the internet.
That was a great video, Chris. Thank you very much. And it's stories like this one that keeps inspiring us to continue working towards connecting everyone in the world. And also congratulations on the progress that GIGA has achieved so far. And now it's my great pleasure to invite Her Excellency Aurora Diaz Rato Ruelta, our ambassador from Spain, to take the floor and share the announcement of their new pledge. Ambassador, please. Thank you.
Here it is. Thank you so much, Selina, and thank you so much to ITU to allow us to join in this celebration, because this is a very particular and special day for us, since World Telecommunications and Information Society Day was born in Torremolinos, Spain, when the plenipotentiary of 1973 decided that it was on May 17th, the anniversary of the founding of the Union, that a World Telecommunications Day should be celebrated in order to raise awareness of the opportunities telecommunications can provide us with. Today, I can announce Spain's pledge to support the ITU-led Partner2Connect Digital Coalition through the funding of a junior professional officer from Spain that will work in the Executive Office of the ITU Secretary General. We, Spain and the ITU, have already signed a Memorandum of Understanding on April the 20th to provide a framework for the JPO, and on May the 10th, we have published a call for applicants. This JPO will be working on the GIGA initiative, supporting connectivity and digitalization globally, and it is totally aligned with the Partnership2Connect goals. This pledge amounts to an estimated value of 400,000 euros, and it will be implemented in a period of 2 years. Spain fully supports P2C and the GIGA initiative that aim both to connect every school in the world to the internet and to closing the digital gaps that are the cause of many children having fewer opportunities to learn and fulfill their potential. In particular, let me recall that Spain is also supporting UNICEF and ITU in the establishment of a GIGA Technology Center in Barcelona. This center, supported by all layers of the Spanish administration, the government of Spain, the regional government of Catalonia, and the city of Barcelona, will harness and drive efforts to equip learners with information, opportunity, and choice through research and product development in order to increase digital connectivity in schools. It will work on open source connectivity solutions in the very dynamic Barcelona digital ecosystem. Just let me underline that the government of Spain also supports through this pledge all the work that we are partnering with ITU leadership for closing all digital gaps, particularly including the gender gap. Finally, let me conclude this announcement by stating that in order to achieve our goals, we acknowledge that a global cooperation, leadership, and innovation is needed. Please join us and ITU in this partnership and commit yourselves with us to the achievement of the Partnership2Connect goals together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for sharing your pledge with us. And now I can say safely that I'm looking forward to more. I'll call you. So to conclude this mini panel, let me now turn to Mr. Xinhui Wang, Vice President and General Manager of Standards and Industry Relations for the ZTE Corporation China, to talk about their pledge. But first, I'd like to congratulate ZTE for becoming the first P2C champion and for your commitment towards Partner2Connect so far. So please, tell us more about your pledge. It's $400 million worth of ICT network infrastructure annually. LDCs, LLDCs, and SIDS by 2025? All that in 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Selena. I love these messages. Thank you so much. On this special day, I would like, start by wishing ITU a happy birthday and to Cesar, son. It was last Friday, but that doesn't really matter. Approximately the same, okay? Thank you. It was in Kigali last June, inspired by the spirit of P2C program, which is quite in line with our company's business philosophy to be the driver of digital economy. We just made a pledge, just a figure like Selena said. We pledged to build $400 million US dollar worth ICT infrastructures annually for LDC, LLDC, and SIDS by 2025. And the program is quite progressing in good shape and was on a regular reporting. I would like to show some figures. More specifically regarding the theme of today, I got some figure of this program. We've already accomplished around 330 million US dollar worth ICT infrastructure building for 27 LDC nations by March of this year. It was, the work will start from second half of 2022. So, which essentially connects millions of unconnected. During the implementation of our pledge, we acknowledged the imperative and importance of this P2C platform. So we are willing to keep contributing to this great endeavor. And in addition to this, so one we made in Kigali, that was Resolution 88. This one gave the mandate of ITU to further advance the objectives of P2C. So it's essential not only for ITU, but for all the stakeholders around the world to accelerate connectivities and bridge the digital divide, which should be aligned with some national strategies. Okay, I would say, given that, on behalf of the company I'm working for, ZTE, aside from the one we made in Kigali, I would like to take this opportunity to make additional one, which is to sponsor P2C 300,000 Swiss franc in next 3 years to bolstering the implementation of goals on the framework, as well as the WTISD Resolution 88. That concludes my presentation, and for the other, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Okay, there's some negotiations going on here about whose pledge is better. We'll take more pledges, thank you. And that concludes the first segment, well, the first mini panel, and since I have the gavel in front of me, done. So we all know that access is a prerequisite for connectivity, but we also need connectivity to be affordable, especially in low and middle income countries. So in our next mini panel, we will be addressing the challenge of affordability. And with us today to share their insights are Her Excellency, Ms. Maimuna Kibenga Tarishi, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the United Republic of Tanzania to the UN and other international organizations in Geneva, His Excellency Nape Nnauye, Minister of Information, Communication and Information Technology, Tanzania, who is joining us virtually, Ms. Nina Bekele, Product Partnerships, Social Impact, Google, and Ms. Julia Nietzsche, Digital for Development and Strategic Partnerships, Orange. Julia is also joining us online. So let me first turn to Ambassador Maimuna for her remarks. She will also introduce the Minister who is joining us remotely. Ambassador, please, the floor is yours for the next 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Facilitator, Secretary General, elected officials of the ITU, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good afternoon. As I've been introduced by the Facilitator, my name is Maimuna Kibenga Tarishi. I'm the Ambassador and the Permanent Representative of the United Republic of Tanzania. But more importantly, I'm the focal point to the United Nations Office and the other international organizations in Geneva. In this regard, I would like to express my availability for any clarification, follow-ups, and meetings with all the respective member states, stakeholders, and partners here in Geneva in as far as ITU responsibilities is concerned. Without further ado, let me take this opportunity once again to introduce and welcome the Honorable Nape Nnauye, a Member of Parliament, but also the Minister of Information, Communication, and Information Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania to give his remarks via the Zoom platform. Welcome, Honorable Minister. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Tarish, Secretary General, elected officials of the ITU, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. Let me join the previous speakers in congratulating all the ITU member states for marking 54 years of the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day today. This year's theme, which is empowering the least developed countries through information and communication technology, is timely as it aligns with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and, most importantly, reflects on the interests of LDCs. Distinguished delegates, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania made pledges on the following areas. 1, digital skills and jobs, local content through IXPS, digital financial services, expanding coverage to 80% of the population, physical address for all by 2022, and connecting the unconnected 4 million people in the rural areas by 2025. The government is committed to ambitious implementation of these pledges, and we have witnessed a positive progress across each pledge. Our monitoring and evaluation model linked to these pledges has enabled to trace and track the implementation at various levels and by various means. Distinguished delegates, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania had succeeded in extending mobile broadband coverage to almost 80% of the population in the country. Despite these achievements, internet adoption remains a prevailing challenge. A substantial number of the Tanzanian population live in areas with mobile broadband coverage, but do not use the internet services, affordability to devices being a core barrier. Currently, records show that 69% of all mobile devices in the country are feature phones, while only 31% are smartphones. Majority of Tanzanians are low-income earner, thus can afford to buy an internet data bundle to provide entry-level broadband services, but cannot afford to buy a smartphone. This drives the low-income people to buy 2G phones, which cost less than $20 compared to the entry-level 4G smartphones that often cost more than $40. As we are all aware, our digital future requires more than just entry-level broadband services. It is in this ground that the government of Tanzania is making a new pledge on affordable broadband connectivity and smart devices to 90% of its population by 2025. Making broadband affordable is a crucial step in achieving our ambitious goal of digital transformation for sustainable development. This pledge aims to shift the policy and the regulatory compass from addressing only the coverage gap to address the adoption gap. It also focuses on creating conducive environment where the majority could afford an entry-level smartphone. Distinguished delegates, successful implementation of this pledge will sustainably reduce broadband costs on both the industry and the consumers, and will ensure affordable and accessible smartphones for all. The government of the United Republic of Tanzania calls for continued cooperation and partnership with the global and the regional stakeholders to join hands in connecting the unconnected to promote digital inclusion. As much as I had wished to be in Geneva today to celebrate this momentous day and engage with all of you, I humbly request for all the member states, stakeholders, and development partners wishing to support, collaborate, and establish partnership with the government of Tanzania in this endeavor to kindly meet Her Excellency Ambassador Maimuna Tarish, and she has said, whose doors are always open for the discussion and further engagement. In conclusion, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania reaffirms its unwavering commitment to continue supporting the work of ITU in executing its duties and will actively participate in the fourth ITU meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for that very inspiring intervention and the pledge. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Tanzania has submitted a total of 7 pledges so far to P2C and counting. So thank you both, Excellencies, for joining us today and sharing your journey. I would like to pass the floor now to Ms. Nina Bekele to tell us more about Google's efforts addressing the issue of data and device affordability. Nina, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Dear Selina, esteemed colleagues and guests, all protocols observed. Thank you for the kind invitation to speak to this important topic here today. Having roots in Ethiopia myself, this topic is deeply personal to me, and it's my honor to represent our work here at Google. More information on our activities in this field can also be found in our Digital Sprinters framework, and I'm looking forward to discussing this more in detail with you also following this forum. The internet has done many things, providing access to the same information to a person in Tanzania, Ethiopia, or here in Switzerland. This lies at the heart of Google's mission, organizing the world's information and making it universally accessible and useful. And universal means no one is left behind. To deliver on this mission, Google has partnered with governments and businesses in developing countries for well over a decade now. And we took a major step in 2021 when we announced our plan to invest $1 billion in Africa over 5 years to accelerate the digital transformation. Empowered by partnerships, we have helped over 100 million people in Africa to this date to affordably access the internet, and we continue to strive to increase this number further. Let's focus on data affordability empowered by infrastructure. For example, we deployed the state-of-the-art Equiano subsea cable that runs along the west coast of Africa, enabling faster and cheaper connectivity on the continent. The cable has now landed in South Africa, Togo, Nigeria, and Namibia, and is expected to lead to a drop in internet prices of up to 21%. Moreover, it is expected to lead to a 5-fold increase in internet speed in Nigeria and almost triple the speed in South Africa. We also look into innovative technologies to reduce the cost of data. Google X's Tara team is helping to bring high-speed connectivity to areas with little infrastructure by using laser technology to transmit information through the air. And we're continuously expanding our efforts. Google recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the African Union, focusing amongst others on enabling affordable access through physical infrastructure. In addition to data affordability, device affordability is a key factor in the equation as well. The average cost of an entry-level smartphone in Africa, for example, still exceeds 60% of the average monthly income, making smartphones largely inaccessible for the majority of the population. Additionally, affordability of devices is not a singular challenge. To enable people to access devices, we need to consider 3 aspects holistically: whether the purchase price is affordable, whether the device uses extensive data, and whether it can be easily financed. Google is working to address all 3 aspects through our open source operating system, Android, which offers consumers the option to choose from device models from over 1,000 companies worldwide, including a large range of low-cost devices. We've also launched a lighter yet powerful Android operating system, Android Go Edition, enabling lighter applications on entry-level devices with only 2 GB of RAM. And finally, regarding device financing, we partner with providers such as Orange or Safaricom in Kenya to allow individuals to finance the purchase of an affordable device with as little as $10 upfront. At the core of all these initiatives is partnerships. Success means working in close collaboration with governments, international organizations like the ITU, and local businesses. And we pledge to build on these partnerships in the years to come to work towards Google's mission to make information universally accessible for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. I'll let you go on for another 30 seconds because I could sense the word pledge coming about, and it did. So thank you for that. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you to Julia Nietzsche from Orange. Julia, we're looking forward to hearing about the progress achieved so far in the implementation of your pledge. Welcome.
Thank you. Dear ITU Secretary General, Your Excellencies, thanks a lot really on behalf of Orange for the invitation to join the celebration of the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. We are proud to participate in ITU's Partner2Connect Alliance and would like to underline the immense work of the ITU and of all the members of the initiative to make connectivity more accessible and affordable, especially in LDCs. Orange is a network operator serving 287 million customers worldwide in 26 countries. Digital equality is at the heart of our strategy. Orange invests in connectivity infrastructures to make digital services more accessible and affordable, in local applications and content, as well as in Orange digital centers to foster digital skills and job inclusion for youth. In 16 countries in Africa and in the Middle East, Orange will keep investing accumulated 5.6 billion euro over the period 2021 to 2025. We are on track with this pledge formulated when the P2C Alliance was launched. Out of these 5.6 billion euro, 3.7 billion euro will be invested to increase voice and data coverage and connectivity in Africa and the Middle East. Out of the 16 countries included in this pledge, 10 are LDCs. These will benefit from accumulated investment close to 2 billion euro between 2021 and 2025. These investments in infrastructure make broadband internet connectivity more and more affordable every year. Today, actually, 14 countries in our Africa and Middle East footprint offer 1 gigabyte of mobile data for less than €1. Moreover, Orange works with partners to make handsets affordable, amongst them Google. In all our Orange footprint countries in Africa and the Middle East, we now commercialize the Sansa Touch smartphone sold for the equivalent of $30. We are looking forward to further cooperate with the P2C Alliance and all its members. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julia, and thank you to all the distinguished panelists for the second segment of the mini panel on affordability, and you may now rest. We are now coming to the end of the segment, and for that, I would like to introduce you to the speakers of our third and final mini panel, which is on digital skills. And through digital skills, we want to draw attention to the issue of adoption and the actual use of the devices and services of modern-day technologies to get meaningfully connected. I'm pleased to introduce His Excellency Sumbuwe Antas, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Republic of Vanuatu to the UN and other international organizations in Geneva, Mr. Alfie Hamid, Senior Manager, Global Partnerships, Cisco, who is joining us online, and Peter Josias, founder of the Digital Child Rights Foundation, who is here with us. Ambassador Sumbuwe, I'd first like to ask you to share with us how digital skills are being addressed in Vanuatu, about your initiatives, and what the remaining challenges are. And of course, please also tell us more about the pledges that your government has made to Partner2Connect. I hand the floor to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sulna, and good afternoon, everyone. Excellencies, Madam DG, colleagues. Happy World Telecommunication and Information Society Day to all of us. It is our day. It's not for the ITU, but it is for us, peoples of the world. So we celebrate that with you. Since 1865, many years ago. And so today we celebrate that, and congratulations to all of us. I should start by saying this, that in 2022, we had celebrated also this day last year. And following from that, early this year, we suffered two cyclones, Tropical Cyclone Judy and Tropical Cyclone Kevin, in a space of 5 days. So despite the damage that we experienced during that time, and we are still under a period of state of emergency in Vanuatu, this event continues to play a significant part in celebrations. Today, the Vanuatu government celebrated the day as well, and we thank you, DG Doreen, for your message to the people of Vanuatu early this morning. The event today, with the theme empowering of the LDCs through ICTs, is a very important one, because it creates a platform for us to share the lessons learned on affordability, accessibility, and so on. Vanuatu graduated. Thank you for putting Vanuatu up on the screen earlier on, as an LDC in 2020, in December, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. So our experiences at the time when we graduated from LDC is very interesting. It's very interesting because the difficulties we faced during graduation, and at the time COVID-19, the restrictions and so on that was placed in the communities was very real. But what we were able to see was that there was an increased use of ICT. So we are very thankful for that, for the use of ICT. And as I said, my time is really up. Okay, so I just would like to say this, that the challenges that we had faced over the years, and as many have said earlier today, our coverage, connectivity, the quality of service, affordability, the data protection, and so on, remains a lot of these issues that we have raised here. And I thank you, earlier speakers, for highlighting those. Today in Vanuatu, the Vanuatu government launched two different policy framework on data protection privacy policy and on the harmful digital communication policy. It was released today, and we hope that the legislation will go to Parliament not too soon after this. Our pledges, for our own pledges, for our communities, for our people in Vanuatu. And one was to ensure that the population of 98% of the population of Vanuatu have access to connectivity, to internet and so on. We had pledged to achieve that in 2018, but because of natural disasters and so on and so forth, it had been deferred 3 times already. And this year it's been deferred again to 2025. And because we have significant damage to our infrastructure and everything else that we experience. I think before I conclude, thank you for giving me the time to speak a little bit extra, is to call. Thank you those who already made pledges, but to call on other countries to also support the efforts to reduce the digital divide between poor and rich, between the urban and the rural, and between men and women. I thank you.
Many thanks, Ambassador, and we hope that other countries will be able to take some of your experiences and learnings. I'd like to turn to Alfie Hamid to ask about Cisco's pledge addressing the issue of digital skills and how it helps people in LDCs be digitally transformed. Hi, Alfie, over to you.
Great, thanks, Selena. Good afternoon to the Secretary General, all officials of the ITU, and Your Excellencies, all protocol observed. It's certainly a pleasure and for me to be presenting today. First of all, happy birthday to the ITU. As an old person, you can see the gray hairs. So it's good to know that there's someone that's much older than me, right? That's present here today. And that's the ITU. But congratulations, I wish you all the best for the future. Looking at where we are, and I think it's very important what's mentioned earlier, is that 36% of our people in LDCs are online, right? And only if you look at that 36% of the youth, only 48% of the youth in LDCs are connected. Now, that is a challenge. And if we look at what's happening currently in the globe, we all know about AI, open AI. We heard here about ChatGPT. A recent study that was done by OpenAI on what the impact of artificial intelligence like ChatGPT is going to have on jobs has shown that certain jobs like interpreters and translators, poets, lyricists, writers, journalists, public relations specialists, mathematicians, tax preparators, right? Blockchain engineers, all of these jobs are going to be negatively impacted by artificial intelligence. Yet we have a challenge of leveling the playing fields in ensuring that the least developed countries are able to compete with the rest of the world. So how do we do that? How do we level the playing fields? Well, there are two fundamental equalizers in the global economy. One is the internet, and the other is education. If you have access to the internet, you have access to all the resources that you want. You have access to education, that is what can take you out of poverty. And this is where we come in as Cisco. We have other partners who are providing connectivity. There also needs to be partners who consider digital skills. And via our Cisco Networking Academy program, that is exactly what we are doing. The Cisco Academy program has been around for the past 25 years. This year, we celebrated 25 years. Over the past 25 years, we've impacted over 17.5 million learners across the world, and the program is present in 190 countries. Our pledge to P2C was to impact 250,000 people in all these developed countries over the next 5 years. And I'm happy to say that to date, since last year, July, we have already reached 100,000 individuals in all these developed countries in partnership with schools, colleges, universities, NGOs, and governments. In the Asia Pacific region, we've reached 35,000 individuals. In Latin America, 2,000, and in Middle East and Africa, 70,000. I'm proud to say that we hopefully will get to the target in less than 5 years. And it's a pleasure to be part of this initiative. Wish you all strength moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfie. Exciting to hear about this pledge and what it can achieve in all the 46 LDCs. And now we have Peter Josias lined up next to tell us about the pledge that his organization, the Digital Child Rights Foundation, has made to P2C. And incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, this pledge is the 600th P2C pledge. So again, thank you, Peter, for helping us achieve this milestone. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Abdullah. And thank you, ITU, for being here. Happy birthday. I'm Peter, founder of the Digital Child Rights Foundation and proud member of the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. I'm also a father in the Netherlands of 2 young adults, Sam and Isa, and they live in the digital world. They learn, they work, they make friends, they create, are active with art and culture, and they have so many opportunities. But this is not the case in low development countries, and therefore we made our pledge, the Digital Child Rights Desk project. We want to meaningfully connect, protect and empower children and young people in the digital world in every neighborhood, in every school, in every city, in every village, in every district, in every country. And therefore, we created our foundation based on the General Comment 25 about children's rights related to the digital environment. And we created a toolbox with 3 levels: awareness, education, and empowerment, because it's important that we work together on the digital skills of children and young people everywhere. They have to trust the internet, because when they start, they don't know. So we have to help them and learn them. And we created inspiring and learnful tools for real life. And I'm happy to share with you that we also created a digital child rights panel in every city, in every country, because we don't know what's happening with our children and young people in the digital world. They have the right to be heard. We have to respect their views in the digital world. So we created, as a member of the Digital Child Rights Desk project, a digital child rights panel and a participation platform. We want to share this with you all in the world. And I'm happy to share today with you that we are start our Digital Child Rights Desk project in Malawi, another low development country. And we will create a multi-year program for youth and children together with 3 NGOs, Youth and Society, CHRR, Center for Human Rights, and YONECO, Youth Network in Malawi. And this summer we will train hundreds of young children and train young people to empower them in the digital world. And to all the viewers online at this moment and the next days, weeks, months and years, please join us. Give your pledge to the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. It's so important to collaborate. And on this day, this birthday of the ITU, last but not least, I will congratulate the ITU team, and I think it will be good to give a big hand of applause to the team of the ITU. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Peter. And thank you to all speakers and panelists for your interventions. Please, can we just thank them one more time? It's really exciting to see the pledges and action plans addressing these challenges, and it was very exciting to receive 3 new pledges during this session alone from the governments of Spain and Tanzania and from ZTE. To conclude this segment, I'd like to give the floor to the BDT Director to close us off. Cosmas, I hand the floor to you.
Thank you, Selena. You'll keep the glass away from you. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have had exciting interventions. I will just make a few concluding remarks. The first thing I want to say is that our work in the ITU, particularly in the development sector, would be almost meaningless if we were not to address the challenges for the marginalized, i.e. the least developed countries. I think we should move, as we switch from analog to digital, we should move from talking about challenges and talk about opportunities. There are insurmountable opportunities in the least developed countries in terms of investment for our industry and private sector. We are very fortunate that in most of the least developed countries, there is a demographic dividend. Our statistics indicate that between the ages of 15 and 24, we have almost everyone online. And that is the group which is most active online. So out of the 2.7 billion people who remain offline, most of the ones who are active are in that age group. And because the population in the least developed countries is in that category, we can develop skills and make sure that they participate in the global information society with a meaning and an impact. Our statistics also indicate that ICTs and devices have become more affordable, but maybe less so in the least developed countries. And I think that is something that we should be focusing on. And as a general comment, digital pulls development. So I think we should use it. The theme for LDC 5 was from potential to prosperity. And I think we have a great opportunity for us to take advantage of that. Now we have good news. We are receiving a lot of pledges, and we are grateful to all those that have pledged billions of dollars. We are going to take a step further, so it's a short relay from pledging to actioning. We will be running a series of regional development forums where we do matchmaking. Those member states that have got needs and those good partners that have pledged, so that we can operationalize and build some viable and bankable projects and implement them effectively. We believe that universal meaningful connectivity is critical, and we thank, of course, the European Commission, with whom we signed about 3 weeks ago an agreement where they are helping us with the 3 million euros for us to be able to measure how much meaning are we getting out of this connectivity. And I think that is very important. So we remain committed to closing not only the digital divide, but also the skills divide. But we also have to accelerate digital transformation. Just as an announcement, which I think the Secretary General will develop to make, there are key events that will be coming very soon. We have the Global Symposium for Regulators that will be hosted by the government of Egypt, and it will run from 5 to 8 June, where we will have the international community and all the regulators to dialogue and see how they can create a more enabling environment. But we also have the regional development forums that I have mentioned, but we will also have AI for Good, which will be coming in July. So we would like to urge you to partner with us and to help us to connect everyone in a meaningful way. Thank you very much, Selena.
Heartfelt thanks to you, Cosmas. And speakers and excellencies and speakers, I now invite you to take your seats with the audience. It only remains for me to wish all of us a very happy birthday, and I certainly look forward to continuing our journey together. And now I gratefully pass the floor back to our MC extraordinaire. Over to you, Max.
Thank you very much indeed, Selena. Well done for that. So, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we're now moving into the closing segment of a WTISD, and I now have the pleasure to invite the speakers to take their seats in the audience and invite the following speakers of the closing segment to join me on stage. That'll be Christopher Sharrock, Her Excellency Ms. Hind Abdel Rahman Al Mufta, and of course Doreen Bogdan Martin. So we'll just give them a few moments to come onto the stage. Thank you. Some nice jazz music to get you into the mood. Are you all sitting comfortably? Then we will begin. So I now have the pleasure to introduce you to Christopher Sharrock, who is the Vice President for the United Nations and International Organizations for Microsoft, who will give us his closing remarks. So, Mr. Sharrock, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Max, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting Microsoft to your birthday party. It's been a tremendous pleasure listening to the discussion, and I'm really pleased to be here, not least because I understand there is a cake which is coming, so I look forward to that. It really has been a tremendous day of discussion, and I just want to pay tribute, actually up front, to Doreen, to the Secretary General, to the ITU, to all of the partners that are doing so much to move forward this central, foundational issue of meaningful connectivity. Microsoft's work with the United Nations and with bodies like the ITU has grown over the decades, and I'm very proud to head the team that leads that partnership. And a particularly important part of that partnership is here in Geneva, and I pay tribute to my colleague Jean-Yves Art, who leads our team here in Geneva. Our company's mission is to empower every individual and every organization on the planet to achieve more. My team's mission is to support the United Nations and the delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals. And we know that the SDGs will only be met if we support those that are at highest risk of being left behind, and that means supporting the LDCs. Back in March, after 18 months of preparation, Microsoft had the honor to co-chair the private sector forum of LDC 5, and I would like to thank UNOHR-LLS for all of their work, and also the government of Qatar for their tremendous hospitality. Exactly as Doreen said at the start of this discussion this afternoon, this was a moment to consider not what LDCs are not, but what they can be. And as Cosmos said just now, to talk about opportunities as well as the challenges that we face. And around 400 companies joined this forum. Many of them made new commitments at the conference. This included an announcement by Microsoft's president, Brad Smith, of new efforts that we will make to help expand opportunity in LDCs across digital infrastructure, digital skilling, and digital development. We can draw two clear conclusions from the LDC 5 Private Sector Forum. First, there is an essential need for multi-stakeholder approaches. The need for public-private partnerships has never been more clear. All of us have to approach these global challenges, the challenges facing the LDCs, with humility. However big we are individually, we know that we can do more working together with the scale of the challenges. The second conclusion that we can draw, and there was a consensus around this in the discussions in Doha, the Private Sector Forum, is that digital technology, including the new advances in AI, does present a real, genuine opportunity to catalyze progress across all of the SDGs, provided it is developed and deployed in a responsible and inclusive way, provided we can make progress to connect the 2.7 billion people who are not connected, and to close those digital divides. And of course, ITU's Partner2Connect program brings both of those two aspects together. Multi-stakeholder partnerships to deliver meaningful connectivity, which in turn can deliver opportunities for progress, as so many have said today. Look, Microsoft's really proud to be a member of P2C. We share the vision of expanding meaningful connectivity and enabling digital transformation to help achieve the SDGs. Our central pledge was to train and certify 10 million people from underserved communities with in-demand digital, foundational, or technical skills by 2025. We're more than halfway to meeting that goal. And we've also made a number of pledges on connectivity, including to deliver internet access to 20 million underserved people in Africa by the end of 2025. And just this week, just in the last few days, we announced new and expanded partnerships in our Airband program, set to provide high-speed internet access to nearly 40 million people across Latin America and Africa. Partnerships in Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Guatemala, in Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, and Uganda. This marks significant progress for us in our commitment to extend high-speed internet access to 250 million people living in unserved and underserved areas around the world, including 100 million in Africa. And that's because at Microsoft, we believe that internet access and meaningful connectivity is a fundamental right. So we see that P2C has demonstrated its immense value with the mobilization of so many pledges. We hear that today, and I thank all of those who've made their pledges and joined us in the program. When we look at 2023, we started at LDC 5 just a couple of months ago, but this is such a crucial year for both the SDGs and for connectivity. LDC 5 in many ways fired the starting gun. We had the STI Forum, the Science, Technology and Innovation Forum in New York just a couple of weeks ago. We're going to have the high-level political forum in July. And then, of course, we are into the SDG Summit in September. And we should be clear, we have got work to do. We have got work to do to develop the safe, responsible, inclusive approach to digital technology. We've got work to do to forge those multi-stakeholder partnerships. We in the private sector have work to do to come together with government, with civil society to deliver together. And of course, we've got things like the Doha Programme of Action to guide us in all of that. So I look forward to joining, I'm sure many of you in New York for the SDG Summit. In particular, looking forward to the ITU's Digital Day around that summit, which will be a really important moment for highlighting the various things that technology can do. So thanks again. I look forward to the cake, and I'll stop there. Thanks, Max.
Thank you very much indeed, Christopher Sharrock. He's right, there is cake, but you'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. So now please let me give the floor to Ms. Hind Abdal Rahman Al Mufta, who is Ambassador, Extraordinary Plenipotentiary, Permanent Representative of the State of Qatar in Geneva.
Thank you, Chris.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, IT family, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here, and thanks again for IT for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences and knowledge, and more importantly, to listen to your experiences and, of course, the very fruitful discussions. I have listened attentively to the distinguished participants and the speakers, and I thank them for raising critical issues that made the discussion very insightful. There is a common theme I have noticed in almost all debates pertaining to the relationship between ICT and SDGs, that bridging digital divide and transferring technology are indispensable for achieving SDGs. That's why it is very, very connected. As we commemorate the anniversary of the funding of the ITU, happy birthday again. On this day, we need to recognize the paramount role of ICT as a powerful tool for economic and social development, both in developed and developing countries. We in Qatar, and allow me to share just a brief experience within what are we doing within ICT. We are back in Qatar, attach great attention and emphasize on benefiting from all investing in the thousands potential offered by information and communications technology, and perceive it as very essential part and element for moving forward towards achieving SDGs and sustainable development. In this regard, we have been very keen to enhance the use of technology in implementing most of our economic, social, and even environmental development programs aimed at improving the life quality for everyone and establishing sustainable societies in which no one is really left behind. And to achieve this, Qatar has made the greatest strides in building its information infrastructure and community technology-based sector that benefit all segments of the society. Our vision in this regard, indeed, for bringing ICT to everyone through digital inclusion, is that everyone in Qatar has adequate digital access, basic digital skills, digital motivation, and digital trust to meaningfully use the benefit from all wide range of digital services available to them in a smart nation, particularly in some services, basically education and health sectors. We believe that by raising the level of everyone in basic digital skills, our digital inclusion strategy and the project will contribute to several UN SDGs. As far for LDCs are concerned, I would really like to seize this opportunity to emphasize Qatar's support to the LDCs development agendas and will always be unwavering. The hosting of LDC conference in Doha last March was another ample opportunity to renew global community and global community's solidarity with LDCs to ensure that they are not left behind. And if I may rephrase Dorian's statement, we shouldn't define LDCs by what they are or what they cannot, but we should really define them by where they should be and where they're supposed to have. This conference this conference really offered a unique platform to help LDC discuss their economic and development strategies that have encountered extraordinary challenges and difficulty because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The second pillar of Doha Programme of Action focuses on leveraging the power of science, technology, and innovation to fight against multidimensional vulnerabilities and to achieve the SDGs. It also provides concrete proposals for access to modern technologies for sustainable development and to support the efforts of least developed countries to significantly improve their capabilities to achieve digital development. All pillars of the actions actually provide path for the achievement of the SDGs and the realization for the light of development in these countries. But ladies and gentlemen, and as many people, the panelists has been emphasized, it's time for action. The LDCs need financial and technical support, both through multilateral and bilateral development cooperation in the spirit of just and true partnership that would contribute to the structural transformation and enable long-lasting achievement in sustainable development. I also take this opportunity of celebrating this day to call the State Development Partners International Organization, multilateral organization, as also Chris mentioned, the public-private sector partnership, so civil societies, NGOs, and so on, including, of course, the ITU, to consistently support the implementation of the Doha Program of Action and partnership with the LDCs, particularly with regard to supporting the least developed countries in building their capacities in broadband infrastructure, connectivity, access to the digital technologies, specifically in some very important sectors, education, health, environment, and economic, in order to achieve all SDGs and to help them to graduate by 2030. I note with satisfaction and thank all those who pledged to donate funds for LDCs in the framework of this conference and encourage further contribution by different stakeholders. Finally, I want to draw the attention to the event, the SDG Digital Day, co-sponsored by Qatar and Singapore in collaboration with the ITE and other partners, which will be held on the 17th of September in New York. This event is indeed to highlight, among other issues, the potential of the data and digital technologies on accelerating the process towards the SDGs. I encourage all of you to actively participate in this expected event and to share different creative ideas. I conclude by thanking again the ITU and wishing them all the success in their notable mission. And I look forward to working closely with you and with any other partners in empowering the LDCs and helping them to find their way within sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency. And to conclude, I now have the honor to give the floor one more time to our wonderful Secretary General, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, to close this event. Madam Secretary General, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Max, and thank you to Chris and to you, Ambassador. Max, do we know what kind of cake awaits us? I know that's the big question.
A big one.
What kind of cake? No, really. So today, of course, is a special day for ITU. It's also a special day for me. People keep saying happy anniversary, and I say, how do you know? Because it's also my wedding anniversary. So yes, I did. I was working. Thank you. I was working at the ITU, and I did not intentionally pick WTISD as my wedding anniversary, but it just happened to be way back when the theme was telecommunications and sports. So anyway, taking you back in time, but thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's been an inspiring session with some great new pledges and some exciting updates on the pledges that have already been made. I would like to also, I guess I could say, Alex, make a pledge, if I can say it that way, that the ITU is pledging to up the bar on Partner2Connect and get to 100 billion in estimated pledging amounts. So we're setting the bar high. We're just over 30 billion. And Alex assures me that we'll get to 100 billion by 2026. So some of the team in the back of the room is looking a little bit surprised, looking nervous, but I'm sure with all of you, we will get there. So let's try to achieve that goal because as we heard today, digital technologies offer tremendous opportunities for those that are currently the furthest left behind. So I think it's an opportunity to come together and make sure that we offer those digital technologies to those that need it most. We saw today some great focus on the key issues that need to be addressed from the access piece, from the affordability piece, making services and devices less expensive, affordable, and of course that last piece on the skills, that digital literacy. We need to make sure that that we get that digital capacity piece there. With about 12% or so of SDGs on track and 7 years to go, I think, as the Secretary General has said before, we're looking for a rescue solution, and I think all of us agree that a rescue solution at this point in time has to be digital. And that's why, as you heard from the ambassador and you heard from Chris, we're very excited to be working with our partners to organize the SDG Digital Day. It will be held prior to the SDG Summit, and we're excited to organize that day to focus on opportunities and to focus on solutions for each and every SDG using digital technologies. It's an opportunity to renew commitments, as I said, to kind of reinforce, to double down and bring industry, governments, academia, civil society, the UN together to get it done. We've heard, and I mentioned in the beginning, that digital technologies, ICTs they are that critical catalyst that will help us to get it done. We are soon launching a competition linked to the 17th of September, the SDG Digital Game Changers Award, so stay tuned for that. We're looking for exciting, innovative solutions in those categories that you see on the slide. So please follow and promote this through your networks because we would like to highlight critical solutions to get it done. I do want to also recognize BCG, who's our knowledge partner for the SDG Digital Day. And Max, I think we have a little video, if we could perhaps share that little video.
Progress is lagging on the global goals to save our planet. On the 17th of September, ITU, together with the UN family and partners, will convene for SDG Digital Day. We will discuss how digital technologies can rescue these goals and speed up progress, as well as how to ensure the 2.7 billion people currently offline can also benefit. Be part of the solution. Join the discussions on the 17th of September. Participate in the competition. Discover the digital action plan to rescue the SDGs and help us bring the global goals back on track to ensure a sustainable and inclusive digital future for all.
Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Join us September 17th. join the movement. We need you because I think together we can get it done. I want to thank all of you here physically, thank everyone who joined us online for this important ITU anniversary celebration. And together, this is our moment to recommit and work together so that we can build an equitable, a just, a responsible, I heard that a couple times today, responsible and sustainable digital future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Doreen, for those closing remarks. It looks like we have some very exciting times ahead of us. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today, both on site and online. And thank you again to all our speakers. Now, to end today's event, I would like to invite all participants joining us here physically to enjoy a celebratory reception outside the pop-off room. And yes, there is cake. And for those at home, you can crack open the champagne or have a cup of tea or something like that to celebrate. But before we do, I would like I think you can all join us, basically, in singing Happy Birthday. It's not just for ITU, as the ambassador for Vanuatu reminded us, it is for the entire world, and the work has just begun. So I will lead you, but you all have to join me, because it can't just be me singing, okay? Here we go. This is your way to get to earn your cake. Here we go. So stand by. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you and the rest of the world. Happy birthday to you.
No, we did that. Okay.
That's all, folks. Thank you.